The prisoner suddenly realized in panic that the door in front of him was made of wood, and the gaps between the wooden panels weren't sealed with rubber. Later, while eating, he noticed the spoon in his hand and a crazy idea crossed his mind. He first placed the spoon on the ground and then kicked it slightly forward, as if adjusting its angle. Taking advantage of the moment when the meal trays were being collected, he discreetly blocked the spoon with his foot. The guards outside had no idea, collected the trays, and walked away. Completely unaware that Francis had left behind a tool for the escape, Francis quickly grabbed the spoon and began rubbing it against the ground. After a short while, the handle of the spoon became sharp enough for him to test it. Sure enough, the spoon slid easily into the gap in the door, and the pried open panel confirmed that Francis's method was indeed effective. But he didn't rush. He hid the spoon in his blanket, planning to act when it got dark. That night, Francis immediately began his work. He carefully slid the spoon up and down, gradually widening the gap. Just then, a cough came from outside the door. It turned out to be his kind-hearted cellmate from across the hall, who had intentionally given him a warning. Francis realized that the wood shavings had fallen outside, so he hurriedly grabbed a longer stick and swept the debris back inside. The next morning, during their wash-up, Francis met this helpful cellmate, and they decided to work together. Over the following days, Francis accelerated his progress, with the help of his cellmate keeping watch. Even during the day, he no longer had to worry about a sudden inspection by the guards. However, as the gap widened, the risk of exposure increased, and he had to come up with a solution. He deliberately dirtied some paper, soaked it, and rolled it into strips to stuff into the door gap as a disguise. Then, he nailed a small tack into the door and hung a towel to cover the gap. This way, even if the door was open, it would be difficult for the guards to notice anything unusual. After 3 weeks of repeated effort, the gap was finally loose enough. Francis decided to try prying open the door. To his dismay, the spoon broke when he applied force. Frustrated, he wrapped it with a towel and tried again, but the wooden panel remained stuck. It seemed a single spoon wasn't enough. He would have to find a new one. The opportunity came the very same day during the wash-up. He easily acquired another spoon and quickly returned to his cell to try again. This time, he successfully pried open the door frame, but his force was too much, and the fallen piece of wood was too large. To avoid detection by the guards, he hurriedly placed the wood back and used a pencil to darken the gap, ensuring everything looked perfect. Francis secretly observed the layout of the prison and quickly identified the location of the guard room. So, one night, he gathered his courage, removed 3 panels from the door, and slipped out through the gap. At that time, the guards were typically in the guard room on the first floor, and no one patrolled the second-floor hallway, allowing Francis to freely search for an escape route. He soon discovered a skylight on the roof and climbed up the steel bars on the wall. As he poked his head out to survey the area, he realized that this was indeed the best escape route. However, to descend from such a high floor, he would need a rope at least 12 meters long, and it had to be sturdy. Francis sat by the window and thought for a long time, finally coming up with a good plan.